top performers put themselves under personal pressure because they don't rely on anybody else to be great. They keep pushing themselves. They need external motivation, but they keep pushing themselves.
Greetings, gentle ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Bitcoin Manson with the AI Global Legends, Blockchain Unification. And today is Get Hype Thursday, Motivational Thursday with Mr. Michael Diamond, international motivational speaker, master sales trainer, and expert at personal development. I've been having the opportunity to work with this gentleman for over 20 years in the insurance space, guys. And I tell you, he has a ball full of energy, a fireball full of energy. He's always on time, he's punctual, and he has the best ingredients. And we like to call it diamond drops, okay? He's always dropping these nuggets on us, giving us this excitement, this power to move forward, pushing through the week. And what we do every Thursday, we like to get the group together, get the teams together, and drop some diamond drops on you guys. So without any further ado, guys, we're right on time. Won't you guys go ahead and put in the chat what part of the world you guys are in? I want to give a few shouts out really quick. We got people loading up. Also, hop inside of your chats and let everybody know we're going live right now with the legends. So let everybody know what part of the world you guys are tuning in from so we can give some shout out. I'm here in California, Silicon Valley today. I see Bay Area, Mansa from Bay Area. Mansa Tariq, what's going on, my man? I see London. I see Bobby. Welcome, welcome. London from Maryland. We see Bobby from Oregon. I used to live in Oregon for 1 year, Bobby. Used to live there in Portland. Let's see here. Beautiful day. Can't complain. I know that's right. Diamond is looking sharper than the Gillette razor blade, guys. He just can't stop right now. He can't wait to give you guys this fire. So who else we got here? Let's see here. Malik coming in from Compton. Malik, you coming from Compton today? All right, okay. We're gonna see you in the streets. Oh man, so yeah, everything is looking good. So guys, I really appreciate you guys showing up on time. And this is being recorded. And again, guys, we got Michael Diamond here. He's getting ready to give you guys some value, going to help you guys take yourselves to the next level. You know, this is his specialty, guys, so I'm excited to introduce you to Michael Diamond. Michael, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing blessed and highly favored, Mansa Jamil. Blessed and highly favored, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited, my brother. I got diamond drops. I got some gold nuggets. I'm excited.
Thursday, man. So your excitement is so contagious, and we need that, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute my line, my man, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you take over from here. All right.
Thank you, Mansa Jamil. I just want to say thank you so much. Your introductions are always so powerful. You're always so on point. I'm always concerned that I'm going to be able to get out of the room. My head might be a little too big. So I went down to Walmart, bought a special little stick pin so I can stick myself in the head and get out the door after you get done introducing me.
Oh my God.
Wow. Well, so it's my privilege.
We want to make sure that you don't take off from here, because I know, you know, you're out there with the galaxies and the Milky Ways and stuff, man. But we want to bring the guys that's on the ground floor. We want to raise them up. We want them to be able to hang out with the moon and the stars as well. All right, my man?
Well, thank you, Mansa Jamil. I appreciate that, because we all show up to grow up. And I just want to jump in because the water's fine. I just want to again say thank you for your integrity. Thank you for your character. Mansa Jamil, it's been 22 years that you've been my little brother, man. I've been in love with you, man. We've been speaking in each other's lives, family, all of that, man. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you, respect you. You are a man of integrity, a man of God. You are a disciplined man, and I'm just proud of you. And also, once again, in front of the team, congratulations on the VP3. Big VP3. You're leading the pack.
Thank you.
You're leading the pack, and I love you for it. I love you for it. So we're sticking close to you. So I want to jump into this, and you all know I spent a lot of time with God, and I'd be nothing without him. And I fight very vigilantly and diligently to be, you know, humble, and that's a tough project. But I want to say that this topic is so dear and close to my heart, and I feel that it's so applicable for your success. These are the things that you got to be cognizant of. This one is the diamond, just the title itself. Refuse to get offended. Refuse to get offended. And I want to just circle the wagons back and just talk about my wonderful relationship with Mansa Jamil. I've known him for 22 years. You don't think we've both given each other an opportunity to get offended? You know, and there's been times that we've hurt each other's feelings or said something that, you know, maybe he didn't appreciate or I took the wrong way. And so I just want to say that if unequivocally, if you're going to make it, if you're going to make it to the top, there's a saying, who offended you and stopped you from receiving your miracle? If I had to let anything offend me with my relationship with Mansa Jamil, we wouldn't be here right now. You know, and I go as far to say that most relationships, marriages, business partners, businesses fall apart because somebody got offended. You know, it's too many times in life when people get fired because they get offended. They don't close deals because they get offended because the person didn't say it the way they wanted to hear it. The person didn't show up on time, so you got offended. You got all these little sacred cows set up. Oh no, girl, did you hear the way he said that to me? Oh no, I know he didn't say that to me like that, girl. No, I'm done. He got too many ain't gots. What's that, Diamond? He ain't got no APT. He ain't got no apartment. He ain't got no car. He ain't got no money, girl. He got too many ain't gots. See, you can give people too many ain't gots, and then all of a sudden you find yourself without. Then you got the ain't gots. So you got to remember that it's imperative. Tyler Perry said his success really took off. It really took off when he repented to his father and he went to him. All these years he had been offended. He had been offended and he wasn't able to really get the success that he wanted. And he was having relationship issues. And he said it wasn't until he went back and healed the relationship with his dad that his career took off. And I truly believe that. Who offended you and stopped you from receiving your miracle? So you got to remember, there's a scripture, Ephesians 6:12, that says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So you got to remember that you're really never dealing with the person, you're dealing with the spirits. So you got to be cognizant of the spirits that you're dealing with. And when you set yourself up for success, you got to remember the 7 P's. Remember the 7 P's and write this down. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. Oftentimes, when you're not prepared, it's easier for you to get offended. Remember, when something comes across your desk of your mind or your life, always double check, triple check what the person's motives were. They might have just been, jabbing at you. They might have just been giving you a hard time. They might have just been playing with you. And maybe your feelings was on your shoulders and you got offended. And now all of a sudden the relationship is off whack. When you get offended, you can see it in classrooms too. You start hearing things like, you know what, the teacher don't like me. You know what, that teacher don't like me and I don't like her. Next thing you know, you're kicked out the class, you got a low grade and everything is going wrong because your perception. Remember that perception is the gateway to greatness. Perception is the gateway to greatness. And I had so many titles that God had given me, but one of the things that I find so applicable is don't get offended. Refuse to get offended. I like to tell stories, so I got to circle back. I use some amazing people in life along with myself. And, I always circle back on stories, so I got to tell one of myself. I was at Jiffy Lube, y'all. I was at Jiffy Lube. Where you say he was at? I was at Jiffy Lube. And I was getting the oil changed at Jiffy Lube. They're my homies over at Jiffy Lube. So I'm over there getting my oil changed. And I came up like I normally do. And I'm talking to the guy. And so I walk up to the guy and I'm asking him about the price. I get the synthetic oil. So it's $105, $109. No big deal. So I always get the best. Because I deserve the best. Get that diamond. That's a diamond for you. You get the best because you deserve the best. Don't chicken change yourself. So anyway, I ask him about it, and the guy's not even looking at me. The guy won't even look at me. I'm asking him about the coupon. I'm asking about the oil. He's looking at his partner, and then he waves me off and says, you know what? I ain't got time for you, man. Man, get out of my face. He said something to me, and normally I would let that go, y'all. Normally, When you live a big life, you gotta let little things go. When you live a big life, you gotta let little things go. And many times I've talked to Mansa Jamil and I've said, man, that ain't nothing but the devil trying to get you on that one, man. And so here it was, my turn. You know, it's interesting, the advice and wisdom that you give other people always turns around for you to deal with the same circumstance. So anyway, the guy walks off, the guy told me, get out of my face or something. Next thing you know, I'm in Jiffy Lube going off on the guy. I'm like, man, look here, what did you say, man? Who are you talking to? Man, excuse me, who you think you're talking to? And I had to pull myself in. And I want to use that example of myself because when you're running hard towards your dreams, like you're running, and you're fighting hard to hit your goals, like you're fighting, and you have expectations, and you've got yourself, you see, top performers put themselves under personal pressure. That's a diamond. Top performers put themselves under personal pressure because they don't rely on anybody else to be great. They keep pushing themselves. They need external motivation, but they keep pushing themselves. And that's why type A personalities like yourself usually beat themselves up. Before you come at them with some criticism, they've already given themselves 100 criticisms already. So I want you to remember, refuse to get offended, because once you get offended, you blocked and stopped your miracle. Who offended you and stopped you from receiving your miracle? Marriages fall apart, businesses fall apart, relationships fall apart, your transactions will fall apart. Many a times I've been in the middle of a big relationship or a big transaction, and the customer will say something that's way off to the north, and I'm thinking to myself, where in the world is this coming from? Who you think you're talking to? And I have to peel it back, roll it back. You know, Oprah Winfrey on her first job was fired. She was fired off her first job, and that could have stopped Oprah right there. Oprah could have said, you know what? You don't fire me. You're going to fire me. I'm Oprah Winfrey. No, you're not going to fire me. And that's it. Many people don't. 90%. What do you say, Diamond? 90% of people fail in success and never take the next step because they got offended. Because their wife didn't chime in, or their husband didn't chime in, or their best friend didn't buy their product, or their best friend didn't believe that what they were doing was sufficient, was successful, was right. Just like Richard Branson. They told Richard Branson Virgin Records is a mistake. Don't do Virgin Records. What'd he say? Richard Branson. They told Richard Branson, the big multi-billionaire, the billionaire servant. They told Richard Branson, don't do it. Virgin Records is a mistake. Richard Branson, he accepted their criticism and moved forward anyway. Listen, I want you to understand that if you're going to make it to the heights that you want to make it to, and you're going to make it, if you're going to accomplish the dreams and goals that you set for yourself, that you've set forth for yourself, and you're going to make them, refuse to get offended. All of this reminds me of a very personal story. I was at a major event, and it was a 3-day event. And the title of it was Landmark. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. If you haven't, look it up. Amazing, amazing opportunity to transform your mind and your world. So anyway, the guy started out. Our instructor started out by telling a story. He said when he was 4 years old, his mom and dad got a divorce. That's what happened. Now, in this segment, if you've got paper, I want you to draw 2 circles. I want you to draw 1 circle, and I want you to put in that circle, that's what happened. That's what happened, because that's life. And in the second circle, I want you to put, this is my interpretation. My interpretation. This is what happened, my interpretation. This is what happened, my interpretation. And what he did is he entwined the circles. So I want you to make 1 circle and then put the other circle right in the middle of the circle. Because what happens is we entwine these 2. So he said at 4 years old, his mom and dad got a divorce. That's what happened. Okay? And then as his mom packed her stuff, as his mom walked out the door, his interpretation was she didn't love him. And he got offended. He was 4 years old and he got offended. You see, age is insignificant when it comes to getting offended. Like babies, you know, babies cry for it, adults die for it, attention. That's a diamond. Babies cry for it, Adults die for it. Attention. We all got to have attention, so we got to make sure we're giving people the right attention, and that's a diamond. So here's the gold nugget. This is what happened. This was his interpretation. So she walked out. She parted. She walked out. His interpretation was she didn't love him. His whole life, his mother, his whole life called him, tried to have a relationship with him. He shunned her off. Every time he called, he was busy. When he became an adult, he was always too busy for his mother. Eventually, one night, he was drunk. He was 27 years old and he was drunk. His mom called and he was rude to her. What do you want? Why are you calling me? He got rude and nasty to her. And she said, why are you so mean to me? His name was Lil David. He said, Lil David, why are you so mean to me, Little David? What was his name? Lil David. Lil David. So she said, Lil David, why you call me? And he's like, don't you call me Lil David, I'm grown now. She's like, okay, baby. But Lil David had an issue with his mama. And so that night they started talking and she said, why have you been so mean to me? I'm always calling your whole life, trying to be a part of life. And he yelled at her, David yelled at her, because you don't love me. You abandoned me. And I've had abandonment issues and relationship issues my whole life because you walked out on me and you didn't care about me. And his mother said, baby, David, Lil David. He said, don't call me Lil David. She said, okay, David, baby, do you want the truth? He said, I want the truth. And it reminded me of a few good men. You can't handle the truth. So that's your diamond today. Can you handle the truth? So she told him, she said, you know, you're a lot like your dad. Your dad was very successful. You're very successful. Your dad was an alcoholic. And unfortunately, son, David, it appears that you're an alcoholic too. You gotta take care of yourself, son. And she, don't tell me what to do, mama. Don't you tell me what to do. You don't love me. So she said, okay, well, let me tell you what happened. Can I tell you what happened, David? And he said, yes. And so she said, well, when I was a baby, when you were a baby, your dad used to beat me. He was abusive. He was rude. He would beat me. He was so cruel to me all the time. And so eventually I couldn't handle it. And she said back then in the 50s, and the 40s and the 60s, she said all I was a housewife and I didn't know how to take care of myself. And so he threatened me and I was going to leave because I couldn't take it anymore. And then he said, if you take my sons, that I'll kill you. I'll take my sons to Argentina and you'll never see them again. So she said, I didn't know what to do and I left. So at that moment, she said to him, David, I've loved you your whole life and I've been trying to be a part of your life. They both started crying. He didn't realize all this time that his dad was the abuser and had been beating her. And that's why she left, not because she didn't love him and because she abandoned him. The moral of that story is that unless you check the motives and unless you dig into the story, you'll always have the propensity and the intensity and the opportunity to draw your own interpretation. What happened was, yes, she left, but his interpretation was she didn't love him, which was untrue. So refuse to get offended. He said he lost 25 years, 24, 23 years of his mom's life because he got offended. Listen, if you're going to be successful, and you're going to be successful, if you're going to shatter through your glass ceiling, reach in the lion's mouth, and take what belongs to you, you're going to have to refuse to be offended. You have to make sure you protect your relationships. I would not be in a relationship with Mansa Jamil for 22 years if we didn't protect this relationship. You got to protect your relationships. You got to protect your prospects. You got to protect your goals. You got to protect your ambition. You got to protect your dreams. You got to remember, like Warren Buffett said, and there was some question in the last show, honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. Honesty is a very expensive gift. It takes big people to be honest. It takes big people to say, what did you mean by that? My feelings were hurt. Give people an opportunity to explain themselves, talk things over, don't get offended, because what happens is when you get offended, you create a domino effect. You end up saying something, doing something, offending someone, that damages your entire success, your entire relationship, only to find out days, weeks, months later that you were wrong, that you had the wrong interpretation. So remember, think the best, believe the best, do your best, be your best, and you'll always get the best. Think the best, believe the best, do your best, be your best, and you'll always receive the best. Think the best, believe the best, do your best, be your best, and you'll always receive your best. All of that reminds me of the mindset of Nelson Mandela, Matiba, when he was in prison. He was interviewed after 20 years. And I love this story, and I re-reference it because it's so dear to my heart. Raising 4 kids on my own, I've always had an opportunity to be offended with their parent because I felt like you could have did more. Single kids that grow up without their dad usually have the opportunity to be offended because their dad wasn't in their life or their mother wasn't in their life. But sometimes we don't understand the circumstances that projected all of that, made that happen. You got to remember that in your life, to be the best, to keep authenticity and sincerity in your voice, you got to think the best, believe the best, be the best, do the best, and you'll receive the best. You've got to remember that you are invincible, unstoppable, too powerful to be defeated, too powerful to be overcome. You're incapable of being conquered, defeated, or subdued. You are more than a conqueror. You are a champion. You've got to dig down deep inside and you've got to trust God. Sometimes we just got to release on God. We got to lean on God because Proverbs 28:26 says, "He that trusteth his own heart is a fool." What does that mean, Diamond? When you trust your own emotions, your own imagination, your own feelings, oftentimes you can be wrong. So you've got to question things. You can't believe your own interpretation about everything because they entwined in each other. This is what happened. This is your interpretation. Remember what they teach you in law school. And I was great in law school. What they teach you in law school is do your research. Don't ever just accept something at face value. Somebody says something, someone does something, in particularly those that are close in your circle. Do your research. Don't allow yourself to get all emotional, get offended, get angry. Next thing you know, you ain't telling nobody about the program. You're not moving forward. All of a sudden, you didn't hit a brick wall. You can't get over it. You can't go under it. You can't go around it because you're offended. So you got to remember to remain symbols of possibility. You got to think universal abundance and remember that you got to understand that you got to watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your behavior. Watch your behavior because it becomes your character. Remember, think the best, believe the best, speak the best, be the best, do the best, and you'll receive the best. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. You know what? I'm so sick and tired of him, girl. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm so sick and tired of him. He getting on my nerves, girl. With his big old head, his big old forehead. I'm out of here. He gets on my nerves. I'm gone. Next thing you know, you're getting a divorce. You're out. You ain't coming home no more. You're having all kind of issues and challenges in your life because you've been thinking it and saying it. Once you start saying it, it becomes your actions. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your behavior. They become your character. And once you watch your character because it becomes your destiny. Once you start a pattern of behavior, it becomes your character. And that character will destroy you. So you've got to remember the $1 billion servant, Tyler Perry, said that he had to guard himself from being offended. And when you get a certain level of success, it starts to get in the way of your success because people start coming at you with a multiplicity of reasons and motives. So make sure that you think the best, believe the best, act the best, be your best, do the best, and you'll receive the best. Remember the 7 P's. The 7 P's. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I found in business and in life, most people have a tendency of getting offended because they weren't prepared. And something went wrong that they didn't anticipate or they didn't plan for, and the opportunity it presents itself to get offended. You have to remember that almost 90% of divorces, 95% of divorces happen because someone got offended. Most people are on drugs and alcohol because they're hurting and they got offended. Something happened in their life, and it's an anchor. It's a negative anchor that keeps you in this vicious cycle of destruction. So remember that you critique every situation and do not let yourself get offended. Refuse to be offended. Refuse it. And that's why you have to make sure that you teach your mouth and your mind to think and say the right things. You have to remember Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. That's that offense when you get a broken spirit. Proverbs 17:22. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. What do you mean, Diamond? A broken spirit gets offended. It starts breaking up your relationships. It starts destroying your friendships. It starts destroying the things around you. So you got to make sure that you're going to make it. You got the right stuff, baby. You're going to get this done. You can do this. Like Mary Kay, when her husband died at the kitchen table, 2 weeks before they were about to launch the business, she jumped up. They told her, "Don't you do it, Mary Kay." She said, "I got the courage to get this done. I'm going to do this." And they said, "Well, what about your husband dying?" She said, "That's his turn, and I'm not going to get offended." You see, you've got to make sure that you refuse to get offended. I know when my mother was dying, I was hurting so. I'll never forget, I was coming back from Monterey. I had a big business event, and I had just started my relationship with NBC. And the doctor called me on the ride home, and I was coming home from Monterey. It was storming out. It was in a winter, and it was storming. Visibility was maybe 3 feet. It was storming. I got a phone call from her doctor. I had never spoken to him before. The guy called me, doctor called me, said, "Hey, is this Michael Diamond?" I said, "Yes, this is Michael." He said, "I want to tell you something. Your mom is dying of pancreatic cancer. There's nothing I can do for her. You know, she should be dying in a couple of months, a few months or so. And I just wanted to call you and tell you, she always talks highly of you. So just wanted you to know your mom is dying." And I started, oh man, I was in the rain. It's storming. And I got offended. I was hurt. I'm like, this doctor gonna call me, not even ask me, "What are you doing? Where are you at, sir? Are you in a position to talk about something serious? I have a serious conversation for you." You see, things aren't always gonna come at you the way you want them to come at you. Circumstances aren't always gonna happen the way you wanna happen. And I had to pull myself back because I was already offended that I couldn't stop my mom from dying. She was dying, and I was doing everything I could to help her. And she was dying in front of me. I watched her come from 140 pounds down to like 50 pounds in my face, and it was killing me, and I didn't know how to stop it. And that doctor's call was just what I needed to go home and have a double scotch. That doctor call was exactly what I needed to roll one up and smoke one. That doctor's call was just what I needed to have an attitude. That doctor's call was all I needed. And you got to remember, in your worst moments, you got to remember that you got an adversary coming after you. The devil don't play fair. He's coming after you to destroy your relationships. He's coming after you to destroy everything in your life. You have to protect what you honor and what you value. You have to protect your relationships. Remember, when your prospects say no, don't get offended. Don't be like, "Well, I knew you wasn't serious anyway. I'll call you back at another better time." Well, when you get serious, give me a call. No, they're serious right now. They just don't have enough information. Don't get offended. I mean, they just don't agree with you. That doesn't mean that they don't want to do it. They just right now don't agree with you. when Mance and Jamil brought hyperfund to me, I was like, man, I ain't got no time for hyperfund. What is hyper? Hyper what? I'm already hyper, man. I ain't got no time for that. Jay, I don't have time. Mansa, not now, not now. But you know, Mansa is such the professional. He is such a consummate professional that he just stayed after me. And he didn't blow my phone up. He just kept nudging me. And that's what you do as a professional. You keep nudging your people. Don't slap them upside the head when they don't agree with you. Don't put their head up on the kitchen table and kick it like a football. No, just keep nudging them. Keep loving on them. Don't get offended. Remember, in order to reach the levels of success that you want to reach, you have to refuse to be offended. You have to refuse. I remember I shared with you once I got fired. Well, the story behind that was I was the #1 top producer in a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and every week they gave out a $500 check, and the owner would walk out on the floor and he'd say, well, there's no need to ask anybody or say anything. Let's just give this check to Diamond because I know he's #1 once again. And I had haters, people resented me. And the manager of that organization, one morning he called me. It was a Saturday morning. I never forget, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Called me, said, hey man, what you doing? I'm like, it's 6:30 on a Saturday. What are you calling me for? He's like, man, did you leave some food on the kitchen at the office? I'm like, nah, I didn't leave no food at the kitchen at the office. What are you talking about? When I get to work, he took the garbage and dumped the whole garbage on my desk. Dumped the whole garbage on my desk, put petitioners around my desk. Now, all the office at the time, and this isn't a prejudice statement, but at the time, I'm African-American, the whole office is white. So I walk in the office and everybody's laughing, and I'm trying to figure out why they're laughing. So I walk in and there's partitioners around my desk. I'm thinking, wow, they finally appreciate me. I do the most business in this company. They finally giving me some privacy. When I walk around the partitioners, there's garbage and flies and little maggots and everything on my desk. I'm like, oh my gosh, I lost it. I start kicking and throwing stuff. And they're like, Diamond, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. It's not that serious. Yeah, it wasn't that damn funny when you was throwing this. I lost it. So I want you to know that at that moment, and of course I got fired. They fired me like a Hebrew slave. But before the dime could hit the ground, because I had operated in excellence, because I am a man of excellence. And I'm telling you, excellence will not be denied. That's why you know who LeBron James is, because he is a man of excellence. That's why you know who Kobe Bryant is, because he is a man of excellence. That's why you know who Steph Curry is, because he's a man of excellence. And excellence will not be denied. If you operate in the spirit of excellence, if you think the right thoughts, do the right things, think the best, believe the best, expect the best, do your best, you'll always receive the best, because excellence will not be denied. I couldn't even get out in the parking lot. My phone was ringing off the hook. People were calling me saying, we heard they fired you. We'll give you $10,000 to come and work here. Please come work here. Because they knew that I would create a culture of excellence. They knew that I would create a culture of enthusiasm and getting along and people loving me. And it was the same company a year and a half later that called me back, paid me $10,000 to come back, and paid Mance and Jamil $10,000, and paid Robert T $10,000, paid 3 of my boys $10,000 to come back, because excellence will not be denied. And proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So if your performance isn't what you need it to be, focus on proper prior planning. If your clients aren't responding to you the way you want them to, make sure that you think the best, believe the best, speak the best, be your best, do your best, and you'll receive the best. Remember that you're unstoppable, that you are incapable of being defeated, conquered, subdued, or overcome. You are more than a conqueror. You are a champion. Remember that the best is yet to come. Keep moving forward. And let me just affirm something as we begin to wrap this down. Don't get offended. Remember, refuse to get offended. Watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your behavior. Watch your behavior because it becomes your character. Watch your character because it becomes your destiny. You've got to make sure. You see, you're unstoppable. And this is going to be the best Christmas that you've ever had. And I want you to remember, as you run towards your dream, I want you to remember that whatever you believe, whatever you can imagine, Socrates said, whatever you can imagine is real. So you've got to remember, Socrates said, whatever you can imagine is real. The billion-dollar servant Bill Gates said he ran into brick wall after brick wall, had complication after complication, but he refused to get offended. He knew that if he got offended, that he might say the wrong thing to people that he needed. I have to say this in closing, that one of the most essential things as you build your multi-billion-dollar corporation, you're going to have the ability to deal with a multiplicity of personalities. And not everybody is going to think like you. Not everybody's going to think like you, speak like you, and do the things and say the things that you want them to say. So you've got to remember, you have to create an anchor. Create your anchor now, like Oprah Winfrey. Create your anchor now, like Mary Kay, and say, I refuse to get offended. I refuse to be offended by anyone's actions. So I want you to refuse to be offended and know that if you think the best, believe the best, speak the best, be your best, and do the best, you'll receive the best. You'll become unstoppable because you're operating with a spirit of excellence. I believe in you. I know you can do this. And I want you to know that when you're dealing with professionals around the world, I say this to great people in Hong Kong, Singapore, France, London, Compton, San Francisco, the hood. Look, be your best, do your best, and remember, you'll get the best. Remember, you got to speak to your mountain. Remember, it's time for you to play a bigger game. You have to practice this principle. This is your diamond. You're speaking the right words at the right time to be effective and super successful in every area of your life. In order to have powerful, long-lasting relationships, you've got to tame your tongue. You can't say everything you think. You can't act on everything you feel and believe. You got to remember, it's what happened and your interpretation. And you've got to accept in life that your interpretation, like Lil David, isn't always right. So don't go running to conclusions. Don't always start jumping down people's throat or allow yourself to get offended and damage your relationships. Remember, who offended you and stopped you from receiving your miracle? 95% of people aren't successful because they got offended. 90% of relationships, business relationships, fail because someone got offended. So do your best to make sure you don't get offended. Make sure that you control your temper and know that I refuse to get offended. When you get an opportunity to get upset, refuse to get offended. And I want you to know that at the end of the day, you're a winner, you're a champion, you're unstoppable. And I want you to know down inside that whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is, that it's possible that you can live your dream. My name is Michael Diamond, international motivational speaker, master sales trainer, and expert in personal development. It's time for you to speak to your world. Create your world. Make sure you refuse to get offended. Speak to your world. Speak the right words at the right time to be effective and super successful in every area of your life. Control your mouth. Remember, Proverbs 17:22, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Keep a merry heart. Choose to be happy. Choose to believe the best in people. Even when circumstances and their words say it's the worst, be unambiguous about it. Unapologetically believe the best. Think the best. Believe the best. Speak the best. Do your best. Be the best, and you'll receive the best. Speak to your world. Create your world. And remember to shatter through your glass ceiling. Reach in the lion's mouth. and take what belongs to you. It's time for us together to shoot for the galaxies and dance among the stars, and know that your diamond is that you refuse to be offended because you are a champion, that you are invincible, unstoppable, too powerful to be defeated, too powerful to be overcome. You are incapable of being conquered, defeated, or subdued. You are more than a conqueror. You are a champion. Keep pushing toward your goals. Keep pushing toward your dreams. Refuse to get offended. And as you speak to your world, create your world, shatter through your glass ceiling, reach in the lion's mouth, and take what belongs to you. My name is Michael Diamond, and I'll see you in the winner's circle.
Yes, yes, yes. We will see you in the winner's circle, guys. And everyone here is in the winner's circle with Michael Diamond, guys. Won't you guys unmute yourself? Show some love to Michael Diamond. Give him some love. You did an amazing job, Mike. This is awesome, man. This is so cool, man.
Thank you, Michael. That was awesome.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you as always. Give thanks.
You're so welcome, sir. You're so welcome. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
You know, guys, we do this every Thursday, and every Thursday we pick up something new that you can take and run with for the next week until the next Thursday. So I love this setup. I love this, this platform that we're providing for you guys, so you guys could, show up. I appreciate all you guys showing up, and this is what's gonna, this is gonna, make the difference between you and others out there, the successful and the non-successful people out there, the ones that show up to grow up and the ones that don't. Okay, so it's a big percentage of people that won't show up to enhance their mindset, but it's that small percentage of people that will show up and they'll take off and they'll be that rocket fuel, and so keep feeding this to your people, keep inviting them to Thursday, and watch how their lives change, watch how their whole environments change. So I want to open it up a little bit for the community to respond with Mr. Michael Diamond. Any questions, comments, concerns? I'll go ahead and bring you guys up on the panel. Diamond, you have some time for some questions and comments?
Yes, I do, sir. Go right ahead. Yes. Right. I look forward to this. Please.
Awesome. Let's see here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Go ahead and put 777 in the chat, and we'll go ahead and bring you up on the panel. And if you don't have any questions, if you have any comments, we'll bring you up. All right. Let's go here. Mr. John Castro. What's going on, John MB?
Greetings. Mr. Diamond, thank you. I just have this quick question, man. Like, it's so hard to stay focused, man. We have a lot of stuff, especially in the material realm, happening in our daily lives, responsibilities that we got to take care of. You know what I mean? Like, there's the wake up morning routine, there's the yogas, you know what I mean? Then there's the saying, the greetings, you know what I mean? And then there's the boom, you got to respond and be places at appointments in physical presence. It's like, what's that key that you use, man, that you can help us and passed on to us that can help us straight up switch from the digital realm to, all right, put a pin in that to activate in the material realm, you know what I mean? And kind of balance those two paradigms of life that we're living right now, my brother.
Yes. That's a great question, John. I'm so glad you asked that question, because I'd have to say that, like in a classroom, when the teacher asks if there are any questions, there's always that person that asks the question, and they're really asking the question that everybody else wants to ask. So that is the paradigm right there. That's really the balancing act of success. So what you have to do is really, you have to prioritize. What happens is what's important is, being president of an international training company, international motivational speaker, master sales trainer, expert in personal development, 4 kids, 8 grandkids, and a plethora of businesses and speaking engagements, I have to prioritize everything to make sure that I'm giving my time to the credence of what's really most important. What happens is we have a tendency to kind of be distracted and start pouring our time into, let's say, like in the banking, I'm a licensed national banker. And in the banking industry, they categorize your clients. They'll say, is that an A client? Is that a B client? Or is that a C client? Or is that a D client? And not that any one is greater than the other, but you might say a D client is someone who's got a 450 FICO score. They got no equity. They don't qualify for the loan. So why are you talking to them? Why are you on the phone with them for 4 hours when you can't help them? So you have to be able to say something positive, sweet, and effective. Leave that person feeling real good and give that person 2 minutes and pay attention to the person who's got 800 FICO score, $300,000 worth of equity, and is ready to go. So if I apply that to my everyday responsibilities, I have to make sure that, okay, I prioritize. I've got to first write down the things that you've got to get done. And people say, well, I heard you say that before. But what's powerful is when you write it down, it becomes your navigation tool, because you look at it and you go, okay, wait a minute, I was fixing to run over here to Sam's Club or run over here to Walmart. I don't really have time to do that because I got to get this done. And then you got to prioritize to get the biggest projects done. There was a science project, a science demonstration in a major university, and the guy had a bunch of rocks, sand, and a bunch of other stuff on the table, and he said, how do you get everything into this jar? And all the students were like, it won't fit. And so what he did is he took the biggest rock, maneuvered it, got it through the jar of the top of the jar, got it in there, and then he started putting all the other little rocks. And then when he poured the sand went all around everything. In other words, when you're committed to your digital world, because you're on these Zooms, you're on all these meetings, you're consumed, and then in the physical world, you're still in your digital world, you got your ambitions, your desires, and then you have your physical responsibilities. So you got to prioritize that. You got to make sure that you put a number and a priority to what has to be done first and what's most important and what's going to give you the biggest return. Because sometimes you might have a big project that can wait 2 weeks, and you got a little project that needs to be done right now. So you got to not only just take the biggest things, but you got to prioritize what's most important. And that'll give you some equilibrium, some balance in your life in terms of getting projects done when you have a lot on your table. Does that make sense?
Hey, one thing that you said there, thank you for that. One thing that you said was, when we're qualifying our peeps, and the ones that are like, okay, there's ones that you got to say 3 things. You can say things that are positive, in order to move on to who's the priority that needs to be attended.
Right.
But you said it was 3 keywords to say something that's positive. Boom and boom. I forgot those other 2 words.
I said, say something that's positive, encouraging, and uplifting. So you want to say something, because that person that I've had a lot of clients who have a 520 FICO score that aren't ready to go right now, but they'll be ready to go in 6 months. They'll be ready to go in 3 months. If I give them the right tutelage and they follow it, they'll call me back. And I've had many clients call me back and say, you know what, I did exactly what you said, Diamond, and now my credit score is at 620, I'm ready to go. But if I blew them off and I talked, kind of funny to them and made them feel insignificant, then they never come back to me. So we have to think that same way with prospects and families that we're dealing to. Just like I heard Bitcoin Rodney say, he didn't respond the first time. When they got at him, he didn't respond. He was like, and the dude stayed after him. The guy stayed after him and showed him love. And then eventually he came on board. And this guy doesn't even have to work because he got Bitcoin Rodney. You don't have to do anything. But if he would have shot him down and talked stupid to him or been insulting, he probably would have damaged that relationship. So that's why I like to treat everybody with love. And but I do need to prioritize people, because when people say, no, not right now, I'm not really interested right now, I've got a death in the family, I've got this going on, then I'll say, okay, you're still important, but I'm going to let you take care of that. And I'll just nudge you like every other day, let you know, hey, I'm praying for you, thinking about you. You need anything, let me know. I'm here for you. And eventually that person says, wow, Diamond was so cool to me. If I ever get into business, I'm going with him because I know he's for real. Did I answer the question?
Beautifully, my brother, beautifully. And thank you for that, because that's that grease for the engine that you needed, those that I needed, you know what I mean, to conceptualize those keywords, because the energy's there. The communication is sometimes gets off between, you know what I mean, between one and one, you know?
Right.
So thank you for that. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. That's eternal value. Blessed love, man. I hope you're well.
John, I love you, man. Thanks so much for asking the question, man. I've watched your growth, and this is, to me, this is the bread and butter of the Motivational Thursday, to ask those questions, because the whole team gets fed. Everybody gets an opportunity to kind of feed on that. So I'm glad you asked that question, man. And I'm proud of you, because what happens is you start getting a little success sometimes, and it happens to the best of us, man. We get a little cocky, we get a little arrogant, we stop hustling as hard, so great question, John. Proud of you, man.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate
All right. Anyone else want to come up and ask Diamond a question, comment, or concern? Don't be shy. I do have a question here that popped into
JD, Mansa, do you have any questions that you think are applicable to the team?
Well, I have a question here. Someone is messaging me from the YouTube. What are some of the ways to attract abundance in your life?
Oh, that's a great question. I like that one, because there's a principle called the law of attractions. And the law of attractions is indicative of what's inside you will come out of you, and what comes out of you is all around you. So if you look at what's around you, it's a reflection of what's coming out of you. And what's coming out of you is a reflection of what's in you. So what happens is, when you want to start attracting abundance, start reading abundant stories. Get abundance in you. Start watching abundant movies. YouTube a lot of abundant stuff. Look at the cars you like. Look at houses you like. Get abundance inside you, and then start talking about abundance. Start going against the grain of what you have. Ultimately, what happens is there's a fundamental principle that says, be, do, and have. And what that means, and this is all applicable to the question, because most of us are trained to think, man, if I had a car like that, if I had a house like that, man, I would be a heck of a guy, and I would have all kind of girlfriends, and no, it's not that, because if you did, it doesn't work that way. You have to, first of all, you have to be a responsible person. First, you have to be, do, and have. So you have to be mindful of prosperity. You have to start thinking about prosperity, talking about prosperity, believing for prosperity, and then start. Massive action overcomes all fear. So then you have to start taking action. You have to start, first you have to be it, get it inside you, and you'll become it. You have to start talking about it and saying it. Like when I was earning $669.67 every 2 weeks, I was running around telling everybody I don't earn less than $10,000. Well, my reality at the time was I was earning $669.67. But what I was saying was that I don't earn nothing less than $10,000. And so because I was being that, I started doing those things, and it started attracting it to me. And then it was like 45, 90 days, and it all started happening. So to attract prosperity, you have to get it in you, start talking about prosperity, start being a person of of being prosperous in your mind. Start seeking out prosperity. Read success stories. Look for magazines with beautiful homes so you can feed your subconscious and your mind starts dreaming about them things. That's why they say if you want a beautiful home, start talking about it. Just like, I don't like to personalize too much, but Mansa Jamil, before he was in the house he's in right now, he was telling me, man, I need a place with a big swimming pool. I need a bigger place, man. I need a bigger place. I got my eye on it. Now he has exactly what he was saying. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I used to say to Mansa, he used to come by, he used to say, man, I need a bigger tank. I need a bigger tank. I need a multi-billion-dollar corporation so I can spread my wings. It hadn't happened, but I was being it. I was talking about it. And I started doing what I needed to do to accomplish it. Mansa Jamil and I have a saying that you can hit the lotto overnight, but you ain't gonna become an insurance agent overnight because you got to do that work first. You got to do that work and pass that test before you become an insurance agent. So I hope that answers some of the question because you have to.
It does. Another question that I get a lot is, like people want to know, because it's a big problem having excuses. So how do you stop making excuses for your business when you really want to go somewhere? You see your eye is on the prize, but you keep getting, overcome by excuses. So how do you stop making excuses?
Well, the tough thing is, this is something that's an ongoing challenge for all of us, Mansa Jamil. And I believe that all of the questions have been great questions. And I feel like this is the salt and pepper on the steak right here, because really what you have to do, in my opinion, excuses are a reason not to move forward. But what I do when I find myself making excuses is I ask myself, I like to call myself on the carpet. I like to say, Diamond, why are you making excuses? Why are you making excuses for yourself? So I like to look in the mirror, stand in the mirror, and look at myself. And quickly, there was this therapy session, and it answers the question. The therapist brought the two couples in. They were fighting and arguing, and they had excuses. They kept blaming each other. He said, Sarah, I want you to look at the mountain out the window. He said, now look at the ceiling, look at the wall. And now he said, look at yourself. That's the issue. Then she was like, oh my gosh. And he told Jimmy, look at the mountain, look at the ceiling. Now look at yourself. That's the issue. You two are fighting, but the real issue is you. So our excuses, in my opinion, are a negative reflection of ourselves that's greater than the positive reflection of ourselves. We're operating on two truths. We have a desire to live and a desire to die. So we got to ask ourselves, everything we do is contingent on two things, life or death. Like people who smoke. I have no condemnation for people who smoke because I used to smoke, but that's a death action. You think people, why are you smoking? Well, you know what I mean? Man, I like to smoke. Well, when I was really looking at the psychology of success, I started looking at all my excuses. Why am I in poverty? Why am I earning 600? Why am I just doing this? So I believe that the key to start overcoming your excuses is start asking yourself, why are you living in this place? Why don't you live across the tracks? Why haven't you lost weight? Why don't you have that car you want? Why? And so now you got to lie to yourself. So now when you ask yourself the questions, you got to now start confronting yourself. So I just say that if you start confronting yourself and calling yourself out, you'll find yourself getting tired of giving yourself the same lie. So if you muster the courage to be honest with yourself and ask yourself the tough questions, that's what I do. That's what I do, because I get excuses right before Motivational Thursday. I always have voices to say, you know what, something came up. I have a big event. I had a big event in San Francisco, couple of thousand people. Right before I went on, I hear voices. What if everything doesn't go right? What if the mic goes out? Man, shut up. So you got to shut those voices up. You got to man up, woman up, and you got to ask yourself the real questions. Why am I making excuses? Why am I failing? Why am I making excuses? Because I used to do that, Manson, in corporations. Why am I not number one? Well, you show up late every day. You're not organized. You're not doing the things that the number one top person is doing. So if you want to be successful, just study what the people that are successful are doing and duplicate it. It's really not a difficult process. It's our low self-esteem that holds us back. I hope I answered that question because I think I went long.
You did answer. You nailed the question, actually. Appreciate that, Diamond. And man, that's powerful, because the thing is you can't make excuses and money at the same time, right? So, our future is at risk here.
Right.
That's what it is. So appreciate everyone showing up, guys. As you see, we get really intimate here and really down to the nitty gritty on really enhancing your lifestyle, enhancing your sales and your mindset. And that's why we show up for you guys every single Thursday. And if we don't show up, guess what? There's a video circulating around here so you can keep getting these diamond drops on the Legends Show. So appreciate all of you guys for showing up to grow up. And we're going to see you in the winner's circle. Peace and blessings.